Today on In the Woodyard, it's an axe day. Let's get chopping. All these axes behind me came to me at specific times, kind of special times for me in my life as far as cutting, making firewood. And I don't really collect axes just to hoard them. Some people like to collect them because they like to have lots of different ones. Some people have hundreds. I have maybe a couple dozen total. This isn't all of them, but these are the ones that kind of have meaning to me. I brought today to show you and talk about them. And there are things about axes and splitting mauls that I really like, things that I don't like, things that I've tried. We're going to talk about all of them, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that kind of stuff. Now, some of them I have back here, I got from my dad. Some I got from my father-in-law. Some I got from vendors that have given them to me. Some of them I bought myself. Some of them I traded for things. We're going to talk about each one of them and what I use them for, what meaning each of them has to me in my life. You guys might have some stories that'd be interesting in the comments. If you put it down, you know, like you've got an axe that you got from your grandpa or whatever and you still use it, or you take it on trips to chop some wood, that kind of thing. That's the cool kind of stuff to me. That's what I like. Having the collector axes that you never touch and are, you know, on the wall and you never look at them, that's not really me. I mean, it's cool and everything. I like them. But to me, same as with anything that I have that's a machine or a tool, I buy it to use. My truck, for instance, I've had it almost 11 years now. It's got 270,000 miles on it. It's a work truck. It gets stuff done. It's not a pavement princess or a show pony. It's a workhorse. I bought it to use it. Another example is my brother Ken's little green weenie tractor, his 3025 that he has. He maxes that thing out like you wouldn't believe. No one else can handle that kind of a machine like he can. He gets the most out of it. He bought it to use it. He didn't buy it to keep it in the garage and keep it warm and rub it with a diaper once a year and wax it and take it out and drive around on a sunny day. We use our stuff. And that's how I feel about everything, whether it's chainsaws, trucks, trailers, axes, mauls, any of the tools that we use to make firewood, they're made to be used, not to be hung on a wall and praised. Yeah, if it has a real special meaning or if it's super valuable, say you've got a black raven, that's probably something you should hang on to, because a really good example of a black raven, if you guys know anything about axes, it's like a $2,000 axe. So yeah, that probably shouldn't be used. But there's some really cool stuff out there. But I'm going to talk about the meaning that mine have in my life of making firewood right now. So the first one I'm going to talk about is this bad boy. This was my dad's. He gave this to me probably 15 years ago. I was helping him split wood and he had a couple of them there. This is an 8-pounder. This is a, let's see what kind it is here. It is a Liddell 8-pounder. And I have replaced the handle on it several times. I tried this plastic one on here. Don't really care for the plastic, but it works. I think I've replaced this 3 times now. I've got some cuts in it and some cracks in it here. The reason this means a lot to me, not so much just that my dad gave it to me. This is the splitting maul I started my firewood business with. When I started selling firewood 13, 14 years ago, something like that, almost 15 years ago, this is what I split all my wood with. I didn't have a hydraulic splitter. I did the first year of all the wood that I had up to the time I started selling was split with this or another maul I've got back here. But this one did most of the work. I split 40 face cords, which would equal about 13 full cords, and sold it all in a couple weeks. I split it all with this maul, all of it. Yes. And then the following year, I split about half of my wood. I had about 80 face cords. So that would be 26, 27, something like that. Full cords, something in there, 28, a bunch. And about half of it I split with this. Then I finally realized I needed to get a hydraulic splitter. So this has special meaning to me because of where I got it and what it did for me. This started my business. The next one I have is this one right here. This is a 6-pounder. This was also given to me by my dad. He wasn't using it anymore. He says, you want that? I said, yeah, I really like the 6-pounder. It had a crappy, all busted up little weedy handle on it. So I put a new handle on it. I rehung it. I burned it down and then finished it. And I really like this to this day. This is a nice size one. You can swing this quite a bit longer. So this has some special meaning to me too. Again, given to me by my dad. I don't know where he got it. Might have bought it. Maybe his dad gave it to him. I don't know. But all I know is that it's a 6-pounder because it says it right here, 6 pounds, says it right there. All right, so there's that one. The next one I talk about is this double bit axe. This is my dad's. He gave this to me. He had 5 or 6 different double bit axes that he used because he chopped wood for a while when he was in probably his 20s and 30s. He did it for exercise and just to make firewood. And he had, when he would break a handle, he would just go buy another axe. So he had like, I think he had 4, maybe 5 of these, maybe 6. And so I took 3 of them, I rehung them, I put new handles on them. I've got one, each of my brothers has one, I gave each of them one. And so this one is one of my dad's that he gave me here. Again, I don't know the name on it, there's really nothing on it. I have no idea what it is, but it's probably kind of cool, it means something to me. And I put this grip on here. This is grip tape that they use like on hockey sticks. I like it because it stops my hand from sliding off the end, and I like it here. Little protection from overstrike. So again, this was from my dad, so that's kind of a cool one. I like this. This is just cool looking. It looks good in pictures. I actually used this in my photography business as a prop for kids that had flannel shirts. We do it by the wood pile, and I'd take a picture of them holding the axe up on their shoulder like this for kids that said, hey, I chop wood with my grandpa. So we use this as a prop quite a bit. So it's pretty cool axe. The next one right here, this I got from my father-in-law. It's been way worn down. It's been sharpened a lot. I think from what I can tell on here, it says on here, this is a Zenith, whatever that means. I don't know if it's worth any money. I wouldn't sell it anyway because it's one of the only things I got from my father-in-law. I also got his vise that his dad made when he worked at a foundry. So I have that, and that's really cool. One of my sons will get that someday. But I rehung this one too. This had a little weeny, tiny handle on it, and so I rehung it, and I've used it a little bit. So this is kind of neat. So I got this from my father-in-law. So kind of a neat one. This axe right here saved my life. Maybe not that dramatic, but we did use it and it did make a big difference. So I bought this before I went to the Boundary Waters with my dad on a hunting trip one year because he said, bring an axe, we'll need to chop some wood. Not even thinking about what we ended up using it for. Yeah, we cut some wood, we made some logs, we helped put up some stuff, a tarp over our tent that we made, we chopped wood with, pounded spikes to put the tent up with, you know, those spikes around the tent, that kind of thing. We have a wall tent we put up in there. But what ended up happening is we were in there hunting for, I don't know, 5, 6 days, and we were across a lake, across a portage, and across another lake. So we were way back in. You can't take motors in, canoe only. We had 2 canoes. We shot 2 deer, and one of the nights when we decided to leave, it got down to like 5 degrees. What happened? The lake froze over. So all that was open was maybe a little bit in the middle. So I was up in the front of this. I was up in the front of the first canoe with this axe, laying up on the bow, and I was chopping and pulling, chopping and pulling, chopping and pulling. It took us all day to get across the lake because we got out to the open water. We paddled for maybe a half mile, and then we hit ice again. And it was, I would say anywhere from 1 inch to 2 inches thick, almost 3 inches thick once we got close to shore. And so we got out to an island, took the canoes, went up over that. And we had all of our gear, and we each had a deer in our canoe. So I pulled us all the way out with this. Took all day. So that was a long day, and it was cold that day. It was windy and cold, and I was up front. My dad was in back, so basically I was pulling him with the axe because you couldn't paddle. And so we eventually got to shore, and it was starting to get dark out, and then we had to portage everything out to the truck where we were, take the deer out, take all of our gear out. So this axe has a special meaning to me. It's kind of cool. So, and the lanyard, I'm glad I had that on there. I put that on there just thinking, oh, there's a hole there. We can hang it up. Well, what I ended up doing with the lanyard here is I put it on my hand. I gave it a couple wraps like this. And while I was chopping, because we were out in the middle of a lake and it was deep, and I would chop and I would pull this forward. Well, a few times my hands would slip off the end. I didn't have this grip tape on here. So that lanyard kept my hand from losing the axe, because without that, we'd still be in there. We'd be fish food. The next axe is this broad axe. This was given to me from my dad. Again, he had a couple of these. I think he had 3 of them. So I got one. My brothers each got one because he used to do peeling of popple, which is what you do in the spring of the year. You would you cut down the middle and then you peel off, and this has actually got a curve to it, so you could peel off the popple. And this was also used for like log cabin making. What's really neat about this was not just my dad's. This was my grandpa's, my dad's dad, and he died when I was 5 years old in 1967. So I was 5, I remember, because my dad and I found him in the garage. He had a heart attack, so I remember it clearly what happened. What's neat about it, besides this being his, he made the handle. You can tell it's kind of a homemade handle. And this color, this maroon paint, he painted all of his tools this color. And then a lot of times he would put a yellow and a red stripes that was like his mark. So this was my grandpa's, so pretty dang cool thing to have. I wouldn't sell it. The next two that I have, these are from my buddy Tony. I traded Tony a bunch of stuff. I bought a whole bunch of axes and machetes, saws, hammers, shovels, things like that. He used to work for Fiskars, and I met Tony about 3 years ago now, something like that. And he used to work for Fiskars, not Fiskars, Fiskars. And so he had lots of tools that he had for when he did shows and demonstrating and stuff like that. And so I traded him these. And so he's been a real good friend for a long time. As much as crap as I give him, we give each other a hard time, but he's a good guy. Check out his channel, Tony's Cool Tools. So this one is this is a chopping axe, and this is a splitting axe. It's kind of a shorter one, kind of like a camp size, but this is a perfect size axe, like if you were felling trees to have. Not too big, not too small, not too heavy, not too light. Really nice, and I like these a lot. So these are kind of cool. Came from Tony. The next two are Husqvarna branded axes. You can see the Husqvarna on there. These were given to me by the regional sales rep. His name is Mark. You guys probably have seen him at shows. Super nice guy. So this one is their splitting axe or maul, and this one is a chopping one. This is a 1250, and this one is a 2500A. So this one weighs 5 pounds or something like that, and this is like a 3-pounder. Nice sharp axe, kind of a cool design. I really like this one. Again, this is another one that would be good to have for if you were felling trees, because it's a nice weight. Nice camp size one that you could take. And then this one works really good for splitting. My brother used it once and he got a little overstrike there, as you can see. He's got some splitting going on, but very nice hickory handles. I like them a lot, so very cool. So this was one of the first things that was given to me by a rep from a company that met me through my channel. So these are a special meeting. And then since then, Husqvarna has given me a whole bunch of chainsaws, so that's really cool. The next three that I have are Fiskars. Now these are the X series. So this is these two here are X27s. You can see I added the tape. I've got a lot of miles on these. This one here is the X25, a little shorter version. This is I believe it's 28 inches long, whereas these are 36 inches. I don't know, however long they are, but the X27, very nice. Of all the axe or splitting mauls or axes that I have, if I was to use them every day, this is what I would pick, because they have the anti-vibe handles. Some people don't like them because it's plastic and it's not wood. But boy, once you try them and use them, they're fantastic. The other reason is that there's a lifetime guarantee. You break the handle, they send you a new one. A new everything. Not just a handle, the whole thing. So lifetime guarantee. The design on them is excellent. It's a nice lighter head, except they're getting heavy with me holding them here. The head is a little lighter, so you can swing this for a very long time. It's got a coating on here. It slides through the wood really well. So these, I split a lot of wood with. Not this one so much. I prefer the longer ones. The X25 is nice, but I prefer the longer handles myself. The reason I have these is if I ever have people help me split wood, or if I'm going somewhere, having a couple of them is good. I try to keep one in my truck at all times. We try to keep one here on the farm in the wood yard, so we use these quite a bit if we have to bust something apart. If there's a problem in the splitter or a problem in the processor, we use these a lot of times to pound out the problem child chunk of wood. And that brings me to my newest axe. This is a Collins head, and it was given to me by Mr. Tim Van Heusen. I got this almost a year ago, well, 6 months, 8 months ago, something like that. He gave this to me when we were at the Paul Bunyan show, and I said, hey, I'll do a video for you. He says, hey, that's kind of why I'm giving it to you. That'd be awesome. But I haven't done a video yet. I've had this sitting for a very long time. Love the handle on it. I love the burning on it and the finish on it. So it's an older Collins head, really nice profile. I like this one. So I have not used this yet. But today is the day. We're going to go chop some wood with this right now. So I don't really claim to be an axe man, although I have swung an axe a lot and a splitting maul a lot. I've done some chopping, and my most fondest memory of swinging an axe, or I should say a hatchet, It was when my dad first bought some land when I was maybe 7, 8 years old, and he had this little hatchet, and it was kind of just like it was mine. I chopped hundreds of trees down. Most of them were about this big. Some of them might have been wrist size, and he said, just cut whatever you want. I think he wanted me to get the exercise. So I chopped and chopped and chopped and chopped and chopped. We did a little clearing because we were thinking about building a house on this property, which we never did. He ended up selling it and making a bunch of money on it. But I remember going out there, and we'd always have a fire, and we would be able to cut wood and burn wood. And I loved doing that. So that was my first memory of actually cutting and chopping wood as a kid. But this Van Dusen axe that I just got here, I wanted to give it a try today. So I just happened to have a chunk of popple back here that Bert and Adam just cut in a tree job. And then I got a couple rounds we're gonna split with this puppy. So I'm gonna give it a try. It's a nice feel to it. So let's give it a swing. Okay, so here we go. Here is the log we're gonna chop. And I'm just gonna chop it in half and see how it feels in my hand. Go. That's fun. I like it. I like it a lot. So there it is. I like the head. I like the weight of it. The handle's very nice and smooth. I like it. Feels good in the grip. And we chopped a piece in half. Kind of a nice smooth cut to it. And that was so much fun. I'm going to do it again. So I got some proper wood here. I got some red oak that will split because red oak splits pretty easily. There we go. That's more like it. This is real wood. There we go. There we go. So there we go. There is the Van Dusen axe with the Collins head. Great for chopping, not so much for splitting. It is not a splitting maul. It's not a splitting axe. There's a huge difference. When I use my X27 or a splitting maul, you've got more weight, more speed, more smoothness. This is more for chopping. Now, if you're cutting stuff that is softwood, if you're cutting pine, fir, stuff like that, where you can just kind of touch it and it explodes, this is not that kind of wood. This is real wood. This is hardwood. And that rubber wood that I cut there, that aspen, it was fresh cut from a living tree. It's like splitting rubber. It's like a big 20-pound chunk of rubber you're trying to split. It just doesn't work. And this oak that I split is all dry, so it's much harder to split when it's dry because it's all tightened up. But I got it done. But that is why they invented hydraulic splitters and processors. That's all I got for today, folks. Come on back tomorrow, folks, 5:30 a.m. I'm going to be right here waiting for you. You better show up. Good night, Erie.